The secret realities of aging, what we shouldn't reveal to our children. As parents, our lives are intrinsically linked to the well-being and growth of our children, to the point that our happiness and personal satisfaction largely depend on them. From the moment they are born, we dedicate ourselves to their care, education, and future, postponing our own dreams and goals to ensure they are prepared to face the challenges of life. This connection is sacred and indestructible, filled with love, dedication, and countless memories. However, as we age and move toward the later stages of life, it is crucial to understand that there are certain thoughts and feelings that are better kept to ourselves, especially regarding our children. Sharing all our worries, regrets, or complaints could impose an emotional burden on them, making them bear the weight of our past and present. Over time, finding a balance between honesty and prudence in what we communicate becomes increasingly important. While it is natural to want to share our experiences, especially with those closest to us, there are truths that are better kept to ourselves. In this article, we will explore 4 aspects that it would be advisable not to reveal to our children as we age, along with other advice on how to navigate the complex family relationships that come with aging. By choosing our words carefully and understanding the power of silence, we can foster more balanced and understanding relationships with our children, allowing us to live this stage of life with greater peace and satisfaction. 1.Do not blame your parents for your current situation. One of the most damaging attitudes we can adopt as we age is blaming our parents for the circumstances of our lives. It is easy to look back and attribute our difficulties to the decisions they made or didn't make. You might think, if my father had worked harder, I would have had a better start, or, if my mother had been more ambitious, I would have attended a better school. While these thoughts may be understandable, they are not only useless but also harmful to our sense of responsibility and self-esteem. By expressing these complaints to our children, we convey the idea that it is acceptable to harbor resentment toward parents, which can trigger a cycle of guilt and frustration that spans generations. Our children might begin to question our decisions and wonder why we didn't do more for their well-being. This cycle of blame benefits no one and prevents us from making peace with our past and accepting the life we have lived. It is important to recognize that each generation faces its own challenges. Our parents acted as best as they could, considering the resources and knowledge they had at the time. Blaming them only robs us of the opportunity to take control of our own lives and learn from their experiences. By accepting that our parents, like us, were human and made mistakes, we free ourselves from resentment and teach our children the value of personal responsibility. Additionally, by showing forgiveness and understanding toward our parents, we encourage our children to follow the same path with us. Now I want to share the story of Maria. She had always felt a sense of resentment toward her father. She grew up convinced that her life would have taken a different turn if he had dedicated more time to work or made better financial decisions. She often reflected, if he had put in more effort, maybe my life would be simpler right now. These feelings accompanied her over the years, and it wasn't until her son, Alejandro, expressed his own dissatisfaction regarding the decisions she had made as a mother that Maria realized something significant. One afternoon, while they were talking about the sacrifices she had made for him, Alejandro remarked, "Sometimes I feel like you could have done more for me, Mom." Those words struck Maria, and it was at that moment she remembered how long she had blamed her father. She realized that the cycle of blame was repeating itself. That night, Maria chose to change her way of thinking. She reflected on the efforts her father had made with the resources available and began to see him from a new perspective, recognizing that, like everyone else, he had done the best he could. The next day, she reached out to Alejandro to discuss the matter. She told him how she had blamed her own father for so long and how she was learning to forgive him and accept him as he was. Maria realized that by communicating with her son from a place of empathy and understanding, something shifted in their relationship. Alejandro, for his part, began to see his mother in a different light, more human and less idealized. Together, they decided to put an end to the blame toward past generations and take responsibility for their own lives. From that moment on, the bond between mother and son strengthened, and they both understood that forgiveness and acceptance are fundamental to breaking the cycle of family guilt. 2. Avoid speaking negatively about your partner. Marriage is a complicated and ever-evolving connection, filled with moments of joy, challenges, commitment, and personal growth. After years of living together, it is natural to have accumulated some complaints or disappointments. You may have at times felt misunderstood or underestimated by your spouse. These emotions are entirely valid, but it's important to reflect on the damage that sharing these frustrations with your children can cause, especially as you mature. As many parents age, they often develop a tendency to speak negatively about their partner in front of their children. It's common to hear phrases like, "I've wasted my best years with your father," or, "If I had chosen someone else, my life would be different." These statements can be very disturbing for children, regardless of their age. Even adults can feel torn between the love they have for both parents and the discomfort of hearing one criticize the other. When parents criticize each other in front of their children, it can create confusion and emotional conflict. Children may begin to question the solidity of their family and wonder if the love and stability they thought they had were genuine. Additionally, they may feel pressured to take sides, even if they are not explicitly asked to do so. This can lead to tense relationships and unresolved tensions that linger long after the discussion. It's important to remember that your partner is not only your spouse but also the other parent of your children. By treating your spouse with kindness, even in moments of frustration or disappointment, you are fostering respect, empathy, and understanding in your children. Instead of focusing on the negative aspects of the relationship, try to highlight the positive qualities and experiences that have helped shape your family. This approach will help your children develop a healthier and more realistic view of love and commitment, which will be beneficial in their own relationships. Now I want to share the story of Carmen. Carmen had been married to Javier for over 30 years. Throughout that time, they had experienced moments of joy and also faced challenges that seemed impossible to overcome. Over the years, the small daily frustrations began to accumulate. At times, Carmen felt that Javier didn't understand her or appreciate everything she did for the family. It was these thoughts that led her to make comments in front of her adult children, such as, "Your father never listened to me when I really needed him," or, "If I had made different choices, maybe my life would be better." One afternoon, while enjoying a family meal, Carmen began to express her frustrations with Javier again. Her eldest son, Carlos, remained silent, visibly uncomfortable, while her younger daughter, Laura, tried to change the subject. Observing her children's reactions, Carmen realized something she had never considered. By venting in this way, she was putting her children in a difficult position. Even though they were adults, they felt uncomfortable and divided when hearing their mother speak negatively about their father. That night, while alone at home, Carmen thought about what had happened. She recalled that, although Javier had not always been the ideal husband, he had also made positive contributions to the family. They had raised two exceptional children together, shared many happy moments, and faced adversity. Suddenly, she realized that instead of focusing on the bad, she needed to appreciate everything they had accomplished together. The next day, Carmen decided to have an honest conversation with her children. She told them that, although she had sometimes felt disappointed, she didn't want them to think that her relationship with Javier had been a mistake. She mentioned the positive experiences they had shared and apologized for putting them in that uncomfortable position. Carlos and Laura, feeling relieved, appreciated her honesty. They understood that their parents' marriage, like any other relationship, had difficult and pleasant moments, but that love and respect were the foundation that kept them connected. With this new perspective, Carmen began to focus on the pleasant moments she had shared with Javier. Although their differences did not immediately disappear, she stopped referring to him negatively in front of her children, creating a more harmonious family environment. Over time, her children understood, thanks to her example, that respect and empathy are essential for maintaining healthy relationships, even during difficult periods. 3. Avoid making comparisons between your children. Sibling rivalry is a common and natural part of growing up, but it can be exacerbated by the comparisons parents make. As parents, it's easy to fall into the temptation of comparing one child to another, especially when one seems more successful, responsible, or accomplished than the other. You might think, at least my daughter is excelling, while my son is facing constant difficulties, or, if my youngest child behaved more like his older brother. While these reflections are understandable, expressing them can have a very negative impact on your children's self-esteem and their relationship with each other. When parents make comparisons between their children, they create an environment of competition and resentment. The child who receives praise may feel excessive pressure to maintain their status, while the child who is criticized may experience feelings of inadequacy or lack of affection. Over time, these emotions can intensify, leading to emotional wounds that are complicated to heal. Siblings who feel unfairly compared may begin to distance themselves, and the close bond they once shared can deteriorate irreversibly. It is crucial to remember that every child is unique, with their own abilities, limitations, and life experiences. No child will live through the same circumstances or achieve the same milestones at the same time, and that is completely normal. As parents, our role is not to compare our children but to celebrate their individuality and offer them our support in their personal journeys. Instead of focusing on what one of your children has that the other does not, take a moment to acknowledge the skills and accomplishments of each one. For example, you could say, "I am very proud of all the effort you have put into reaching your goals," or "I appreciate your creativity and how you face challenges." By offering genuine recognition and support to each of your children, you promote a sense of self-esteem and self-confidence that will enable them to tackle life's challenges with strength and determination. Additionally, by avoiding comparisons, you create an environment of love and acceptance at home. Siblings who feel supported and valued for their essence, rather than for their differences, are more likely to cultivate close and supportive relationships throughout their lives. This sense of unity and mutual respect will benefit them as they transition into adulthood and face the inevitable challenges that time brings. Rosa had 2 children, Andres and Clara. Andres, the oldest, was a responsible and dedicated young man who always excelled in school. Clara, on the other hand, was more unruly and had difficulty concentrating on her studies. Frequently, Rosa, without intention, would make comments like, "Look at your brother, always so organized. Why can't you be a little more like him?" or, "If you tried a little harder, you could achieve as much as Andres." One day, during a family dinner, Clara abruptly got up from the table and exclaimed, "I'm tired of always being compared to Andres. I will never be like him." The tension filled the room, and Rosa, surprised by her daughter's reaction, realized that she had been unintentionally fostering a sense of inferiority in Clara. That night, Rosa reflected on what had happened and understood that by comparing her children, she was affecting Clara's self-esteem and harming their relationship. The next day, Rosa chose to change her approach. She began to recognize Clara's unique qualities, such as her creativity and her ability to find innovative solutions to problems. Over time, Clara felt more valued, and her relationship with Andres improved as she stopped seeing him as competition and began to view him as a brother instead of an adversary. By eliminating comparisons, Rosa helped her children feel appreciated for their authentic identities, strengthening the bond between them. Now, Andres and Clara enjoy a close and mutually supportive relationship, understanding that it is not necessary to be the same to be loved and respected. Before continuing, don't forget to give a like if you are enjoying the video and subscribe to the channel for the best tips on attracting abundance and success into your life. Let's move on. Avoid focusing on the negative aspects of life. Over time, it's easy for our attention to shift toward the difficulties that arise with aging. Our bodies don't function as they once did, and we may face health issues, financial difficulties, or the loss of loved ones. These situations are a natural part of the aging process, but constantly focusing on them can lead to a negative and pessimistic view of life, affecting not only ourselves but also those around us, especially our children. By constantly expressing our frustrations and complaints about aging, we risk transmitting fear and anxiety to our children. They may begin to see old age as something to be feared, rather than viewing it as a natural stage of life that can still be filled with joy, purpose, and satisfaction. Furthermore, continually focusing on the negative can hinder our ability to appreciate the beauty and blessings that surround us. These remain present in our lives, even in old age. At any stage of life, there is a mix of positive and negative aspects. There are still many wonderful experiences to enjoy in old age, from the joy of watching grandchildren grow to the satisfaction of reflecting on a fulfilling life. By choosing to focus on the positive aspects of life, we can create an atmosphere of gratitude and contentment that enriches not only our lives but also those of those around us. This does not mean ignoring the challenges of aging or pretending that everything is perfect. It is crucial to recognize the difficulties we face, but we must also strive to find the positive side in every situation. For example, instead of focusing on our physical limitations, we could be grateful for the wisdom and knowledge we have gained over the years. Rather than lamenting the youth that has passed, we can appreciate the peace and serenity that come with maturity. By adopting an optimistic view of life, we provide our children with an example that happiness and fulfillment are possible at any stage of life. We teach them that life is not defined by the challenges we face but by how we choose to respond to them. This attitude of resilience and optimism will be very useful to them as they navigate their own lives and face the inevitable ups and downs that aging brings. Carmen had recently celebrated her 70th birthday, and although she remained active, the discomforts associated with aging began to emerge. Often, during family gatherings, she would share her concerns. "I can't do what I used to do. My knees won't let me," or "every day, I feel like I have less energy, and my youth is slipping away." Her children, Marta and Joaquin, listened in silence, feeling sad and somewhat worried as they observed how their mother, who had once been very optimistic, was beginning to focus solely on the negative aspects of aging. One day, after a particularly sad gathering, Marta decided to have a conversation with Carmen. She said, "Mom, I know things aren't what they used to be, and I understand your frustrations, but there are also many positive things in this phase of your life. You can still enjoy your grandchildren, travel at your own pace, and spend special moments with us. It hurts me to see you suffer, but I believe that if you adjust your perspective a bit, you'll be able to appreciate how beautiful life still is." Marta's words had a profound impact on Carmen. That night, she reflected on what her daughter had said and realized that in trying to express her concerns, she had overlooked all the positives that still surrounded her. The next day, Carmen decided to make a conscious effort to focus on the positive. Instead of lamenting the pain in her knees, Carmen appreciated that she could still walk and enjoy walks in the park with her grandchildren. Instead of crying over the losses she had experienced, she began to fondly remember the happy moments she shared with her loved ones. Over time, Carmen started to view life from a different perspective. Although she still faced challenges, she decided not to let those obstacles define her day-to-day life. Her children noticed the change and began to spend more time with her, enjoying the conversations and laughter that once again filled their home. Carmen not only felt happier, but she also showed her children how life, at any stage, can be filled with joy if one chooses to focus on the positive. 5. Don't rely financially on your children. As we approach old age, it is normal for our financial situation to change, which can raise concerns about our independence. However, One of the greatest gifts we can give our children is the ability to live their lives without the burden of having to support their parents financially. While it is perfectly acceptable to ask our children for help when we need it, excessive dependence can complicate the relationship and cause feelings of guilt or obligation. Additionally, financial dependence can alter the parent-child relationship in harmful ways. Children who perceive a need to contribute financially to their parents may feel resentment or frustration, especially if they are also struggling to support their own families or advance in their careers. Similarly, parents who heavily depend on their children may begin to experience a decline in their autonomy and self-esteem, leading to feelings of helplessness or inadequacy. To avoid these issues, it is essential to plan for the future as much as possible. This can include saving for retirement, investing in long-term care insurance, or seeking financial advice to prepare for the later stages of life. By taking a proactive stance to ensure your financial independence, you can preserve your dignity and maintain a natural balance in the parent-child dynamic. There will undoubtedly be times when financial support is needed, and it is perfectly acceptable to ask for help when necessary. However, it is crucial to approach these situations with honesty and transparency, discussing your needs and expectations with your children in a way that respects their own realities and financial limits. By acting this way, you ensure that any financial assistance is given with love and consideration, rather than being perceived as a burden or causing feelings of guilt. Now, let's explore the story of Manuel. Manuel had worked hard throughout his life. Now, at 72 years old, he was enjoying his retirement, but he realized that his savings were not enough to cover all his expenses, especially due to some health issues that required ongoing care. Although he had always been a self-sufficient person, the idea of requesting financial support from his son, David, began to occupy his thoughts. David, for his part, had his own family to take care of, with 2 small children and a mortgage to pay. Although he loved his father deeply and always wanted to help him, the burden of having to meet Manuel's needs was beginning to affect him both emotionally and financially. He felt guilty when he couldn't provide more support and, at the same time, frustrated that he couldn't balance his obligations as a son and as a father. One day, Manuel and David chose to sit down and have an honest conversation. With a sad tone, Manuel expressed to his son that he didn't want to be a burden to him but that he was going through a difficult situation. David, with great patience, explained how hard it was for him too and how the financial situation was beginning to create tensions in his own family. That conversation marked a significant change for both of them. Manuel decided to seek financial guidance, and although it wasn't easy, he made decisions to reduce his expenses and adjust his way of living. He also reached out to his friends for suggestions on support programs for seniors. On his part, David felt relieved to have been able to talk openly with his father, and together they agreed that, while he would always be willing to offer his help, it was essential for Manuel to find ways to maintain his economic independence. Over time, Manuel regained some of his emotional and financial confidence. Although he still occasionally needed his son's support, they both recognized that the key was to maintain a healthy balance, respecting each other's needs and limitations. This decision not only strengthened their relationship but also allowed Manuel to feel more valuable and less dependent, while David could focus on his own family without feeling overwhelmed by the financial burden of his father. It's not necessary to communicate every health problem. As we age, health becomes a more significant concern, with more frequent medical visits, procedures, and worries related to our well-being. While it's crucial to keep your children informed about relevant aspects of your health, it's also important to find a balance between honesty and privacy. Continuously discussing every symptom, discomfort, or fear can be overwhelming for them and may create a sense of helplessness. Your children genuinely care about your well-being, and hearing about every difficulty you encounter can be emotionally draining for them, especially if they perceive that they can't do much to assist you. This could cause them anxiety or tension regarding your health, which, in turn, affects their own mental and emotional balance. Additionally, constantly focusing on your health issues can divert attention from the relationship, turning it into a dynamic of care and concern rather than love and connection. It's essential to inform your children about significant updates related to your health, especially if they need to be involved in your care or in the decisions you make. However, for minor issues or everyday discomforts, consider whether it's really necessary to share every detail. Instead, it's preferable to focus on maintaining a positive perspective and reassuring them that you are taking care of your health in the best way possible. By achieving a balance between honesty and discretion, you can protect your children from unnecessary anxieties and allow them to focus on the more positive aspects of their bond with you. At the same time, this allows you to retain your sense of independence and strength, showing your children that you can face life's challenges with resilience and grace. Elena had always been a vigorous and energetic woman. At 75, she valued her autonomy and her life in the community. However, in the past year, she had dealt with several health issues, ranging from joint discomfort to episodes of dizziness. Despite receiving treatment, she began to worry about how these complications might influence her children, especially her daughter Anna, who frequently seemed anxious about her well-being. One afternoon, while they were sharing tea, Elena felt the need to talk to Anna about a new symptom she had been experiencing. However, before doing so, she noticed the look of concern on her daughter's face. She remembered that whenever she mentioned her ailments, Anna would get nervous and seem to carry an emotional weight that didn't belong to her. She decided it was time to adjust her perspective. Instead of telling her every little inconvenience, she chose to speak about what truly mattered. She told Anna that, although she had faced some setbacks, she was under the care of competent doctors and was taking care of herself well. Elena decided to focus on the positive aspects. "Today I went for a walk in the park and felt wonderful," she said with a smile. Anna, relieved, felt calmer and comforted hearing her mother adopt a positive outlook. The conversation shifted toward happy moments and upcoming projects, which strengthened their connection. Elena realized that by shielding her daughter from unnecessary anxieties, she was also taking care of herself and maintaining the essence of their relationship. Over time, Elena continued to share only what she considered important about her health, always keeping an optimistic attitude. This new dynamic allowed Anna to enjoy the moments they spent together more, without the continuous burden of worry. In this way, both learned to appreciate the family connection, turning their conversations into a space of love and support rather than a source of anxiety. Always promote their independence. One of the greatest gifts you can give your children as they grow up is the freedom to live their own lives without experiencing guilt or obligation. As parents, it's natural to want to be close to our children, especially as we age and face the possibility of loneliness or health problems. However, it's important to remember that our children have their own lives, families, and responsibilities, so it's essential to respect their autonomy. Encouraging your children to pursue their own goals and dreams, even if that means they are less available to you, is a sign of trust and love. This shows that you believe in their ability to face life's challenges and that you support their decisions, even if they differ from yours. By providing them with the space to live their own lives, you give them the opportunity to grow and develop without the pressure of your expectations or desires. This doesn't mean you should distance yourself from your children or avoid asking for their help when you need it. Rather, it's about finding a balance between maintaining a close and supportive relationship and respecting their autonomy. By fostering a bond based on mutual respect and empathy, you can ensure that your children always feel loved and supported without being overwhelmed by your needs. Now I want to share the story of Clara. Clara had always been a dedicated mother. Since her children were little, she had supported them in everything, from their school activities to their professional goals. However, as her children, Pablo and Sofia, matured, Clara began to realize that she felt uneasy every time they made decisions that took them away from their surroundings. Un día, Pablo informó que había aceptado un empleo en una ciudad lejana. Clara sintió un apretón en el estómago, la idea de que su hijo se trasladara tan lejos la invadió de tristeza. ¿Por qué no puedes encontrar algo más cercano? Lo preguntó, tratando de disimular su inquietud. Pablo, con una mirada decidida, lo respondió, Mamá, este es un gran avance para mi carrera. Necesito hacer esto por mí mismo. Clara se sintió confundida. Sin embargo, al pensar en ello, recordó lo que siempre había querido para sus hijos, que fueran felices y se sintieran plenos. Así que, a pesar de sus preocupaciones, optó por brindarles su apoyo. Está bien, hijo. Quiero que hagas lo que te haga feliz, dijo con una sonrisa, aunque por dentro sentía una ligera tristeza. A los pocos meses, Clara recibió una invitación para visitar a Pablo en su nueva ciudad. Al llegar, lo encontró más seguro y feliz que nunca. Él lo mostró su nuevo empleo y lo presentó a sus amigos. Al observar lo realizado que se sentía, Clara comprendió que había tomado la decisión correcta al apoyarlo. Ese día, Clara también conversó con Sofía, quien había estado dudando sobre continuar sus estudios en el extranjero. Recordando su propia experiencia con Pablo, la alentó, Sofía. Tienes todo mi respaldo. Este es tu momento. Con el paso del tiempo, Clara aprendió a apreciar la independencia de sus hijos, reconociendo que su amor no dependía de tenerlos a su lado. Al ofrecerles el espacio que necesitaban, pudo reforzar su relación y disfrutar de su desarrollo personal. Ahora, cada visita se convierte en una celebración de sus logros, en lugar de ser un momento de ansiedad. En conclusión, en las etapas finales de la vida, lo que decidimos no comunicar a menudo tiene más peso que las palabras que optamos por expresar. El silencio puede ser una herramienta poderosa, una forma de conservar relaciones, fomentar la positividad y proteger a nuestros seres queridos de un sufrimiento innecesario. Aunque es normal querer compartir nuestras inquietudes con nuestros hijos, es fundamental reconocer que hay temas que es mejor mantener en secreto. Al reservar ciertas críticas, quejas o pensamientos negativos, les permitimos a nuestros hijos afrontar la vida con optimismo, respeto y un sentido de responsabilidad por su propio futuro. A medida que vamos envejeciendo, tenemos la oportunidad de guiar a otros mediante nuestro ejemplo, mostrando que la gracia, la sabiduría y la empatía provienen de nuestro interior. A través de nuestras acciones y nuestras palabras, o incluso al optar por el silencio, guiamos a la próxima generación hacia una vida más compasiva y enriquecedora, libre de la carga de arrepentimientos del pasado y resentimientos no comunicados de el elegir el silencio en los momentos adecuados. Les ofrecemos a nuestros hijos la oportunidad de crecer, aprender y enfrentar el mundo con confianza y coraje. Gracias por tu atención, hasta luego y nos vemos la próxima vez. Si estas historias te inspiran y te motivan a actuar, por favor escribe, si no es así, comenta no. Tu opinión es muy importante para nosotros. Te agradecemos por tomarte un momento para responder.